So hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about an issue that has been hard hitting since I was a child. A boy of 12 years of age being reminded regularly about something that is not absolutely in his control. No, I'm not going to be talking about my body. I won't talk about the color of my skin. I won't talk about my femininity. I will not be talking about anything. I'll talk about my failures. How my failures have been my best teachers. You'd be wondering, what is this guy saying? How can failure be someone's teacher after 16 years of formal education and about a few startups? I realized that if I hadn't failed in my journey of growing up, in my journey of work, I wouldn't have been the person that I am today. Let me take you through this one time in school, a dreadful open day. I was sitting with my mother opposite the table of my history teacher. A lot of us dread history as a subject. So did I. She looked at me in the eyes and she told me in that dreaded tone, "Don't you understand basic English? The paper and the questions were so simple. How could you not get this? You have failed, failed this examination. How will you move ahead in life?" I was disheartened. My mother gave me a look. Most curry mothers would have done the same. She did too. Then about 10 years later, in graduation time, I was sitting with my college director and she told me, "Harsh, you've not been a great economist because you haven't studied these subjects and cleared these particular subjects. So, you can't be a good entrepreneur because you don't understand how money works. You do not understand how the finance works and the economy does." I was made to question everything that I was doing that time. It was slightly disheartening. But then I thought, if I hadn't failed, would I have learned? Failure has been celebratory for me because every time I would fail, I would be set back in time. I'd be given that opportunity to start all over again than being mediocre, because mediocrity is not the wishfulness of someone who belongs to the society that we live in today. Let me tell you another instance and relate to how failure and emotions work. There's a very negative connotation to failure. We call it loneliness. Someone who's failed is lonely. But loneliness basically means someone who's alone and sad about it. I am someone who loves being by myself. I like to be alone. So there's a difference between being alone and lonely. So if I'm alone at a cafe, sitting and eating my food, reading a book, it doesn't mean that I'm lonely. It doesn't mean that my parents have left me. It doesn't mean that I've had a heartbreak. It means none of that. And there was this one instance in Bombay when I was sitting next to a family of 6, and in Bengali they were chattering about me, thinking that I'm a North Indian boy who doesn't understand Bengali. And when they were trying to take a picture, I helped them by taking a picture for them. And I replied in Bengali, "I love your sari, auntie, and the bindi you're wearing is very nice." They were also astounded. They got up and left before the main course. So these are the different instances of failures and loneliness that people intersect and try misunderstanding. Let me take you through the journey of my ventures. We've all heard that chocolate should not face the flame in a kitchen. So at my restaurant, I was self-taught as a chef. For about 3 to 4 months, I was trying different methods how to melt the chocolate without burning it. Multiple cooking burns, multiple injuries. But what I actually understood was that when you seek help, you can overcome your failure faster. So keep aside your ego and actually ask and seek help, because that will help you search. And the help that I sought was from Google. I looked it up and I checked how a double boiler would work and the chocolate would melt without burning. In my next venture, when I was printing clothes, I realized that certain fabrics require certain paint, certain colors and certain textures. If you try printing a very soft cotton fabric with a certain paint or a certain color, the dye won't seep in and it'll go away in 2 washes. These are the things that failure taught me over time. In my third venture, we got defrauded by one of the board members. She took away a bunch of our clients. It was very disheartening. But that is when I realized that a lot of these inhibitions in companies happen because of excessive trust. When you give someone too much power to run your organization, which comes with a lot of responsibility, but if the person does not fulfill their duties, but just takes up the responsibility of actually taking away what's yours, it's a failure. But I then understood that wasn't a Fortune 500 company of mine, that I could be defrauded at such a large scale. I might have lost a couple of lakhs then. It means a lot of money. I come from a middle class family. But I learned that the next time I have to put things out there, if I have to put my trust out there, I need to learn. And in different parts of life, I've learned that what my formal education, what my books couldn't teach me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against formal education. A lot of my failures taught me. Every time I go to the kitchen, I look at chocolates and I look at the gas, I smile. It brings me to those days of failures when I would burn the chocolate. When even today when I wear clothes and I look at them, I think, blazer ko pani mein nahi dhona hai. You gotta dry clean it. Because that's how it works. So at different times of life, if your teachers or if people tell you on the outside that you have failed as an individual, as a student, and if your inner voice, that little voice in your head, doesn't tell you that you failed, don't listen to the externalities, because they don't matter as much as the voice inside. So when you start hearing and listening to yourself and tell yourself every day that you're better than you were yesterday, you've done a great job. And all of you sitting here and everyone listening, failure is nothing but a teacher and a stepping stone to your journey of success. You are not scared to fail. You're absolutely scared to start. So take a vow for yourself and realize that in different parts of life, your failures have actually taught you to become a better person. Every time an individual fails, they get up and they start over. With children and babies, when they learn to walk, what is the first thing a parent does when they fall? They create a scene. They shout for help and they cry. Before the baby starts crying, the baby is told that the furniture is at fault and not the baby. As infants, we are told that what we do and how we fail is because of externalities. It's always in the inside. A baby has 2 eyes. He can see that there's furniture and the next time you should not bump into it. Maybe a little later in life you'll know that when you fail, it's not because of externalities. Maybe you didn't work as hard. Or maybe you can start all over again. So different stories of my mathematics examinations, because I was an ace failure at mathematics, and unfortunately it still does help me of sorts, because I've learned how to calculate faster in my business and other things and negotiations. But all in all, I'll leave you with one note of thanks for having me here and listening to me. You're not scared to fail, you're scared to start. Thank you so much, guys.